A lot of beginner data analysts usually jump into learning all the cool data analytical tools. Excel, SQL, Tableau, their names, you can name all of them. But there's usually a big mistake that almost everyone makes that stops them from becoming a good data analyst. And what is that big mistake? Guys, if you are becoming a data analyst or you are currently transitioning from any career path into the data analytical career path, then I want you to watch this video to the end because I want you to avoid these mistakes because it will save you months of frustration. Hi guys, welcome back to the Medi Data Perspective channel. You know how it is. In this space, we discuss everything data related, okay? And today we'll be talking about the one big common mistake most beginner data analysts make that stop them from becoming good data analysts. So without wasting time, let's dive right in. So what is this big mistake I'm talking about? Most beginner data analysts focus on learning the tool instead of asking the right question. And when I mean the two, what am I referring to? They focus on learning Excel, SQL, Tableau, Python. It could be any programming language, just name it. They spend more amount of time learning these two instead of learning how to ask the right questions. Remember that the tool is just a medium that you use in answering the question and not necessarily the tool providing answers to your questions, right? And why do beginners usually do this? They usually fall into this trap because they find learning productive, and that is true. Imagine you as a beginner that does not know how to use SQL before. You spend like 2 weeks, 3 weeks learning SQL, and now you know how to use the select, you know how to group by, you know how to use pivot table and so forth. You feel accomplished, you feel that, oh, you've learned something. But the real question is, can you now answer business questions? If I ask you why is sales dropping, can you be able to use this tool which you've learned to be able to answer the question why sales is dropping? Getting my point now? Can you relate to what I'm saying? So most of the times we find out that we spend a lot of time wanting to learn how to make use of the tool, but we still don't know how to ask the right question to be able to use the tool to solve this problem. Remember that though your business employer or whosoever is going to be paying you to analyze your data is not paying you because you know how to make use of Excel. It's not paying you because you know how to use select in SQL. The person is paying you because the person wants you to provide solutions to their problem. The person has a problem and he wants to be able to provide insights to those problems. And if you cannot ask the right question, you would not be able to provide the right insight to the problem. So let's break this down real quick. Every data analyst asks, what is the problem we are trying to solve? Secondly, what are those questions I will be asking to solve this problem? And thirdly, what is the data set we'll be using to solve this problem? Thereafter, the person can go into coding, cleaning, visualizing, creating dashboard, and interpreting. But in the case of a beginner data analyst, they jump from asking these first three questions and go into coding, either cleaning data or visualizing data. And at the end of the day, you find out that you've created a dashboard, but it does not solve any business problem. Imagine you spending tons of hours of time creating a dashboard, sometimes up to 3 to 4 page dashboard, but your problem, the business problem, has not yet been solved. So let's take this example. Let's say a business comes to meet you and say, we want to analyze our revenue for last year. Our revenue has been dropping and we want to analyze revenue for last year. Do you know what a beginner data analyst does? Takes this data and goes into Excel, Tableau, or any data analytical tools and create a chart to show revenue by month. Remember, this chart is just going to show what revenue looks like by month. And the business owner already knows that, right? Because your chart is technically just going to say, oh, in January we had so revenue, in February we had so revenue, and this data analyst already has this answer. This is not what he's looking for. He wants to know why revenue has dropped over the years. Do you know what a professional data analyst? Professional data analyst is going to ask questions like, were there new products that were introduced? Do you have a new competitor? Did sales drop? Was there any products that customers did not buy? You know, there are several questions a professional data analyst is going to ask that at the end of the day is now going to accumulate to provide insights to the customers or to the business question, which is revenue has been dropping over time. Can you see the difference? So a beginner data analyst just rush and start creating charts to show trends in revenue dropping. But a professional data analyst is going to have series of questions, important questions, because at the end of this day, answers that will be generated from this question is going to, provide the answer that the business owner is looking for. So remember, new learning tool is not the enemy. Tools are not the enemy, but the ability for you to ask the right question, ask the right business question is very important. So you can learn how to use Excel, you can learn how to create good dashboard, but if your dashboard is not offering solution to the business, then it's useless. Okay, so that's why you see people they create dashboard, but their dashboard is asked answering one, two, three, four, five, six, seven questions. It's not focusing on the business question. It's not focusing on a particular point. Pick a particular question and answer it with your dashboard. So I've written down a practical guideline that beginners should use to learn when going into data analysis. So the first step is practice asking questions. Practice asking not just questions, relevant questions about the data. Okay. The second step is think in terms of problem and decisions. What problem is this business fixing, and what are the decisions are going to be made to be able to resolve this problem or help this business? Number three, work with real data sets and scenarios. As a beginner data analyst, there are different ways you can get data from, right? So even if you are working with fictitious data, try to create real scenarios. Don't just pick a data set and start analyzing. There's one thing I usually do when I was starting out. You can go on ChatGPT. For example, you have a sales data, because in sales you can analyze different things. So you can analyze revenue, you can analyze sales orders coming in, you can analyze profit and so forth. So you can even take this data set and go on ChatGPT and you can ask ChatGPT some questions. You can give it a scenario and say, what are those questions I can bring out from this data set in order to help the business owner? Since you are practicing, you can generate a problem scenario and create questions to answer those problems instead of just going into the data set and trying to solve every possible question that comes up in your head. Okay. The number four step, which is very important, is explain your findings. Explain your findings plainly. So there's one thing for you to be able to create dashboard. There's one thing for you to be able to solve problems, but you need to be able to know how to explain your findings to your audience, right? So your audience might not be a tech savvy. Your audience might not be a data analytic expert, right? So they might be just the ordinary person. So they need somebody to be able to explain these findings you got from this analysis. What is it? So be able to explain it in a clear and simple way. And the last point is use tools to support your findings and not to replace it. Okay. So always remember that you are the one making use of this tool. And the reason why you are learning Excel, the reason why you are learning SQL, whatsoever tool you are learning, is because you want to use it to be able to provide solutions to businesses. You want to use it to be able to provide solutions to your clients, right? So there's always going to be this thinking aspect of it. Your learning SQL, your learning Excel should not replace your knowledgeable aspect, right? So you use tools to support your thinking and not to replace it. So remember that the biggest mistake that beginner data analysts make is not asking the right question, focusing on learning tools and not asking the right question. So if you can flip this switch, if you can start asking the right question, I bet you are going to learn faster, you are going to impress better, and you're going to be the best data analyst within the shortest period of time. So guys, if you found this video helpful, then don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel. And also drop in the comment section, let me know what data analytical tool you are currently learning. And this week's shout out goes out to Flower8733. Thank you for commenting on my video. And guys, don't forget that drop your comments in the comment section because you can be the lucky subscriber I'll be giving a shout out to in our next video. And I will always be there to reply to your questions, your comments, and whatsoever. And you also know that my social media handles are always dropped in the video description on any video, so you can also reach out to me via my social media handle if you have any questions or anything you would love to discuss with me. So guys, bye for now and see you in my next video.